Hello everybody and welcome back to Cities Skylines 2, where we were working on developing this area down over here last episode, and I want to get that finished up here. So mission number 1 should probably be to bring this road down to somewhere around perhaps here or so. Okay. Beyond that, I'm thinking about, like, where this road exists, right? Where this highway exists. Obviously, I don't want to build it like this, but this road is going to need to be brought down somewhat. That's in water. I think I'm just going to put it about here for the time being. And then this road will come down to be about here for the time being. And then this road here, we could put in a road that just goes up here, but I don't see what the point of that would be. Wait, we can just connect this in here. And we should. Absolutely, we should do that. Okay, now this situation here needs to get dealt with. Oh, that's right. I hooked up the sewage that was right here. This was not connected to anything, so I hooked that up so we can have some sewage going out here. Our wastewater treatment plant was dealing with all of the sewage, but we don't want to do that forever. So I'm just going to remove this section of highway for right now, and we're going to disconnect, I should say, the dam that is here. So I do want to connect this over somewhere, and I think the answer for where we want to connect it, at least for now, is using the complex curve tool, doing something kind of along the lines of this. I kind of hate it though. So maybe that ends up being a bit more along the lines of, where's 90 degrees? This is close enough. Somewhere around here instead. That comes back as slope too steep. Okay. So if we were to extend this guy out and bring it down, more along the lines of this, that works, but I kind of hate the outcome. Yeah, not a fan. We're going to have to terraform this area. That's fine. So we're going to take the slope terrain tool. I'm going to grab this height here, and we're just going to do something like that. Then I'm going to soften this out over here, and a little bit over by this cliff. That's maybe a little too much softened over in this area. We'll find out. So let's see what this ends up looking like if we were to extend this guy. It's not where I want this to snap to. I guess the dam is just slightly awkward. Sure. It really doesn't want to snap to a central position there. I guess here. Okay. Sure. We'll take that. And then this would want to come down somewhere over here, right? Something kind of like... I saw a spot where we could do it. Where it wasn't sloped too steep. Yes, right here. Kind of like that. That's maybe a little bit better. I mean, it's not great in terms of our buildable area, but I think that's reasonably fine, all things considered. So now I want to take this highway due south. The question is, can we get it over any of this stuff? Obviously, we need to elevate it a bit, and I want this to be snapping only to angle grid. Okay, so we're going to have to bring this up a little bit from where it's at right now. Noted. So that means that this needs to come up an additional 20 meters. And where do we need to actually drop these pillars? So this is slope too steep here. We can put it here, but if we can put the pillars over on this side, I would prefer that. So we put it about there, like that. It is a slight incline, but I think that's acceptable for the moment. Next, I want to extend this road out, and that's going to be down at 10 meters for now. And that's just going to be coming in over here. Is that... that is reasonably straight, I guess. And this is, of course, going to need to be somewhat elevated. So I'm just going to drop a pillar here, and then this is coming back as in water. Okay, so I'd like to bring this guy down. Obviously, it doesn't like this. and I can't say I blame it. I don't like that either. Can we elevate this enough? No. But what if we use the curve tool to bring this somewhere around over here? That's a potentially interesting option, actually. I think that's a very interesting option. So we can extend this guy out over here, right? And we can bring this out over here. Using the curve tool, what I'd really like to find here... Well, we need to have all snapping on for this. So what I'd really like to find here is this point. Now that's coming back as in water. But that's the only actual problem here. And where is it coming back as in water? It's here. So if we were to knock this back a little bit, we might be able to do this. Emphasis on might. So this would end up being here. Well, would you look at that? Okay. We'll go with that. That's fine for now. It's a little awkward looking, no doubt about that, but I think that's okay. And now we can bring this road, still in the curve tool, we can bring this road down over here, something kind of like that, and then would connect it up pretty much straight over here. And then that would curve out to around here or so. We'd need to find where we don't have a pillar issue, of course. And that would be coming through somewhere around here, but I'm concerned about the water. We could go to... Yes, I'm actually quite concerned about the water. We can drop this off right here, and then maybe dip it out over here. Like so. And then angle that over here. And then bring it out approximately this direction or so. Okay. I don't love what we've got going on here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this section out. We're going to run a road out here. And this is going to be a little bit awkward. But I'd like to bring this down to be about here or so. I'd love to curve this in here. And actually, it will let us. This is a bridge, but I think that's reasonably okay considering it's literally in the ocean. So that is fine. I don't mind that being a bridge. We do want to connect this in about here. Okay. I think I'm reasonably content with that. There's some wonkiness with these roads, no doubt about it. But I think overall, it's quasi-okay. Maybe this road here would do better connecting here to here. I think that's very possible. So this would end up coming in and just going something kind of like this, perhaps. And then we'd use the straight line tool, and this road would come out over this way, and then come down over this way. Something like that. That's probably an improvement. Yeah, I think that's an improvement. Okay, so that looks good. Now we still need to connect up this highway here. We might run into some issues here with the location of that road, specifically as we try to put a roundabout in. If we try to put a roundabout in. That's technically, I think, not required here. But we'll see. Actually, no problem whatsoever. We'll call that good. So that seems okay. What I don't like now is that this road just terminates here. That might get extended when we extend this down. But broadly, I think overall this is okay. So now we're going to need to do some on-off ramps here. So I think we need to grab our highway here. This is going to need to be dropped down a bit. And we would bring this guy up over here and down over here-ish. And then we would make sure that there is no left turn here or here. Perfect. And then this one we don't actually need because that exits the city limits for the time being. So now we can hop up over here and we can do a pair of on-ramps, or rather an on-ramp and an off-ramp up over here. So somewhere around there, and then an off-ramp about there or so. I don't really like the way that this built. I'm going to get rid of this one, and let's spread that out just a little bit further. So about here instead. It's better. Okay, no left turn allowed here, no left turn allowed here. There we go. Now we're going to need to do a opposite pair here. So an off-ramp here and an on-ramp approximately here. That slope too steep. I think I'm going to get rid of this one, and we're going to rebuild that out over this way. Oh, that's too far. That is too far. Okay, we'll try it here. Even that's too far. The problem here is that we need to have it come in kind of like this, right? But that's going to need to get turned around. It's not ideal. But I guess it'll probably do. It's very not ideal, though. So we're going to head out over here. This is going to be another set of them. And that's going to go from slope too steep immediately. That's kind of exciting. That slope too steep, definitely. I mean, this is a very steep area. No doubt about that. So in that case, well, we need to go this way anyway. So we can bring this guy up in here. That's actually absolutely fine. And then we can bring this guy somewhere around here. Actually, that works. No left-hand turns here. There's some texture issues and a pillar clipping through. We might be able to make that look slightly better here, which I wouldn't necessarily mind. I'm not sure that's an improvement. Okay, we'll leave that be for the time being. Okay, so that's this area completed. Next up, we're going to need this. This should go very easily, in theory. And we'll put that in about here and about here. Looks good. No left turns allowed. Now, we don't need one up here, because that's taken up by this. So for now, that's fine. No problem there. This is all complete. This one is complete, but we need off-ramp over this way. So that means that we are going to need to grab around here. That slope too steep. That's probably because of this terraforming here. Yeah, most likely. Let's get rid of these two houses. And I just want to make sure to soften this area out. There we go. And let's try this again. So that slope too steep at 30% grade. That's a significant grade. What if we were to bring it in this way? That's a 27% grade. Okay, this might be a challenge here. This is a very steep hill. There's no doubt about that. Why is there a bunch of people floating in this field? I guess they must have been at like a house party at these houses or something. Well, this isn't creepy at all. Okay. Well, that's exciting. I don't really know what to say about that one. Yikes. They should have been out over here. Why were they here? I don't know. I have no idea. So can we get this in on this side? 25% grade. I think we're going to have to go for a significantly wider setup here. So that's a 23% grade. We can terraform this, but that would be a pretty extensive terraformation. Yeah, that's a 23% grade. I think we're going to have to do it. So we're going to have to get this section of highway out. And we're going to have to get these two streets out for sure. I'm going to get out these streets as well. And we'll just bulldoze these areas. Okay, so at this time, what I want to do is I want to grab our slope tool. We're going to grab the slope terrain tool. We're going to grab this height, and we're just going to slope this into a fairly even grade. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the level terrain tool, and I'm going to grab this height here. And I'm going to level this spot about like so. Then we can rebuild this road like so. Okay. Now we can rebuild this section of highway. And we'll see if that ends up actually functioning. Surprisingly, it does. Do it. Okay. Now the question is, do we need to back this off over here? We'll see. So let's see what would happen if we were to try to do an off-ramp somewhere around here. That's a 20% grade. That's a 17% grade. Even that slope too steep. What if we were to bring it about like this? 21%? Okay. So we clearly need to do a little bit more work on this highway positioning. So to that end, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring back this section here. And yes, this is making a big mess. There's no doubt about that. But we're going to bring this guy down, and he's going to need to come down to be about here or so. What's the shortest that we can do this? About here. I want this in straight line tool, thanks. About here. Then we're going to need to bring it down another level. Like that. And then look to connect that in. Okay. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know. We'll see if we can get this in. Curve tool. That's coming back as slope too steep. Fair enough. This is an extremely steep area. That's a 24% grade there. So I think we might have to elevate this road. I'm pretty sure that that's what this comes down to at this point. We have been able to do it with this terraformation technique in the past, but this is just too big of a grade. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to grab the level terrain tool. I'm going to grab this height here, and we're just going to bring this whole area out to here. And we'll clean up this terrain afterwards. Of course, this means that these roads need to get taken out. And then I'm going to soften the terrain around here. I'm also going to soften this area. And I'm going to soften out these cliffs that we've created. Now, this area here has some cliffs. That's to be expected. I think it's okay. I don't think it's that big of a deal. So now we can try to bring this road back through. And we can see that that is at a significantly higher position now. Then we can attempt to bring the highway back through, and this time we shouldn't need to have it be at 20 meters as we drop down. We should, in theory, just be able to drop it here and then connect it right in here, although that's giving us slope too steep. So I'm going to get rid of this section of highway, and we might need to change the altitude of... Actually, no, this is almost fine. Almost fine. I think we're going to need to change the altitude of this roundabout. So I'm going to bring this down like so. Okay. And then I'm going to extend this section of highway down to here. Even that is slope too steep. The bigger problem is the overlapping item here. Going to take this out here. And we're going to bring this down. We're going to need it to come in about here. Okay. Then we need this to snap into this position, but we need it to be a little higher, about here. Okay. From here, we can connect this out over this way, which is exactly the goal. And we can also connect this out over here. Now, this is not going to be at a perfect angle here. We're going to need to curve it, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm just going to curve this up over to about here. This is not perfect here. Where do we need to be? Here? Hang on. It's magneting us up to the north. So I think we need to pull this back a little bit. Okay, just trying to move it along this line. It's about here. So we'll just do that for now. Okay, and can we get the roundabout back in here? Yes, we can. Now, can we get our on-off ramps? This is the ultimate question of Ultimate Destiny. Let's find out. Slope too steep, 21% grade, but we might be able to back this off over here. Yeah. Excellent. So we can put this in about here. Looks great. Well, I mean, not great, but it looks functional. Perfect. Now, do we need to do any cleanup of the terraformation? Probably we should. So I'm going to grab the slope terrain tool. I'm going to grab this height here, and we're just going to do something like this. And then we're going to soften that out. It's going to have to do. Okay, so that'll do for now. As far as this over here goes, there's no off-ramp required, although we should probably have a connection out over here. But I don't think it's strictly speaking necessary. I think this is broadly okay. So we can zone up these areas over here. This presumably was row housing? Yes. Okay, we can zone up these areas and get this all completed at long last. That definitely took a little while to get that done, but those are some very, very steep hills. Emphasis on were. They're not so steep anymore. So we just need to get these, like, border areas zoned, right? So that we can use Marquee Select to zone the others more quickly. Okay, something along the lines of this should be fine. We can now swap over to Marquee Select, and I'm going to grab from here, and we'll just zone up all of this. We can also zone up all of this easily enough. Excellent. And we'll just hop through here. Okay, something along the lines of that. Now, this is all row housing over here, and we should probably actually change this over to being row housing. About like this. Cool. Why are you unzoned? Okay, you're just condemned? Sure, get out of there. So that'll be fine for now. We can tick on forward at long last. It definitely took some time to develop this area. There's a lot of weirdness to it. That's for sure. There's a lot of weirdness going on over here. I do want to check in on how our traffic is doing on entering the city up over this way. Okay, so this intersection is still a little bit on the busy side, but there's not a big backup here. People are moving through it in a reasonable rate, I guess. And then there's this up over here, which is completely fine. This up over here, which is completely fine. So the idea here appears to have worked. I do see over here, though, a traffic jam. And also, is this our pollution cloud, or is this just a cloud? It might just be a cloud. I think that's probably this cloud here. Okay. So checking in on what we have going on here, we can take a quick look. Uh-huh. Just lane changing issues? I'm guessing that this is lane changing. Because they're going so slowly, right? But this traffic jam, I don't think is caused by anything in particular. I did just see 2 cars up here despawn, so that's exciting. And now that the front 2 cars have despawned, things seem to be moving kind of okay now. That said, there's definitely backup happening over here. So additional throughput here might not be the worst of ideas. But this is not congested. So I would expect this to clean up, actually. Why are you parked? Why was he waiting for this sports car? That makes no sense. Okay, whatever. It doesn't actually affect anything. Yeah, I think that this traffic is cleaning up. I don't think this is an actual issue. I think this is a just temporary driver issue. Okay, any other problems? Well, we do see that there's some traffic accidents outside of the city limits. Not much we can do about that, obviously. There's also been a traffic accident over here. But there don't appear to be any major traffic issues right now. And we do see some demand creeping up for some of this, but we satisfied a little bit of demand over here anyway. It is about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're probably going to start up development of this area here. We'll see how that ends up going. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, Kintogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.